morning, Hans.
Good morning, Hannah. Good morning, everybody.
You're in a new location. You look well lit.
I've been working on it. AI is the thing, so I said, AI, help me with my lighting, and boom, here we are.
Actually,
Well, I used old-fashioned AI. I asked a real person, but I'm sure, I'm sure we'll be doing all that online soon.
that's becoming more and more rare these days.
It is actually because I was looking at some of the numbers. ChatGPT said that they just passed 2.5 billion requests a day. Now compare that to 800,000 probably about 7 months ago, 7.5 months ago, and then that's up from about 500,000, let's say about maybe a little over a year ago. So just to give you an idea of how much this is going to influence everything and what it means for us as traders.
And that is definitely going to be a piece of what we're going to talk about today. So, good morning, everyone. Welcome. Happy Thursday. Sorry, Hans' lighting looks so much better than me. I'm actually in Aspen for the next couple of days. My sister is giving
Ooh.
a presentation at a conference here, so I am here to support as the sister. Um, but anyway, so I have this jerry-rigged lamp situation to try to make it look a little bit better. But
I guess you didn't need to bring your skis this time, Hannah.
no, this is more of a summer walk, hike, gondola situation. So I'm very much looking forward to it. But
Yeah.
please say hello in the chat. Welcome, you guys. Thanks for joining us this morning. Hans and I are going to be live for about 30 minutes. There are a couple things that I want to go over with you here today. We're going to talk a little bit about CRT, what that means for you, and how it applies to Hans' strategy. I want to look at his track record a bit more deeply. There's some questions that you guys have had about trade size, average return, average pace of the trade. So we're going to get into some of the specifics about that today. And then I also want to talk about, and we'll do a little preview for tomorrow. If you joined us at last week's presentation, there is a reason why Hans is more excited about trading turbo income right now than he has been really at any other time. And it specifically has to do with the AI catalyst and what that means for what he calls this breakout ceiling. So we're going to look at that a little bit, and Hans is actually going to talk much more about that tomorrow. So if you're curious about why this is so important for you right now, I would make sure to join us tomorrow. I want to start, though, with a question for everyone, and then we'll intro Hans a little bit and talk more about his track record. So the question I have for everyone is, when you go to place a trade, whether it's I'm going to buy some stock or I'm going to buy some options, what do you do to feel confident in that trade? Confidence is a big piece of trading, and it's something that I want to talk about here today. So when you go to place a trade, what do you do to feel confident? Some people put together a trading plan. So I have a plan, I'm going to stick to it. That gives me a certain level of confidence. A lot of times people have one strategy that they really like to use, and knowing that strategy, the ins and outs of it gives you confidence. Hans, in your own trading, and as people put some answers in the chat, what do you do to have confidence in your trading?
Well, confidence, of course, can come from in trading. It's a little bit of art and science, right? So there's the science, which you can learn. You can pick up a book. You can learn from all the wonderful resources we have at Option Pit. And that is absolutely an important foundation. The art of it is something that you can learn over time. And unfortunately, sometimes experience is a big part of that. But you can also learn that from pros as well. So the more you have exposure to great people who can actually do this, the more you're going to learn that art part of it, and that's what increases your confidence. And that's a lot of the feedback that we often get. It's, I kind of know about some of this stuff, but you've given me confidence. And so it's about having the right tools, which we're going to talk about today. It's about lining up as many forms of edge, as we like to call it, those positive advantages. The more you have in your court, the more you're going to be set up and the more you're going to be confident.
Because for a lot of you here listening today, you either have not spent the last 10 or 20 years trading, making mistakes, doing the things that sort of naturally give you confidence, failing, getting back up again, failing, getting back up again. Maybe you have some experience doing that in your own trading, but it's unlikely that you've been doing that for decades like Hans or Mark or Andrew have. So one of the reasons why a company like Option Pit can even exist is Our role is to help you expedite that learning process and give you that confidence more quickly. So you don't have to sit there by yourself and fail and fail and fail and watch your account whittle away over time as you learn. We're here to give you some tools that can help you feel confident. And Hans talked about that a little bit. And the number one tool in your trading, Hans, that gives you confidence in your own trades is going to be the MTI, which stands for Market Temperature Indicator. This is Hans' main indicator. And Hans, can you just give everyone here like kind of a brief overview? How does using the MTI give you confidence when you are going into a trade?
Well, no matter how long you've been doing this, it's always good to have rules and guardrails that can help you stay in your lane. And so the way it helps me is it gives me a number of different things. It gives me confidence by letting me know when it's time to get into a trade, and it doesn't jump at opportunities right away. Everybody else is jumping in, and sometimes those are failed opportunities. It waits. It sort of has this ability to take its time, but once it's go, as it moves from red to yellow to green, it really gives you that signal that it's really time. Excuse me, it's time to lean in. So it can help you get into a trade. It can help you stay in a trade, which is actually something that people don't talk about enough. That is really, I mean, people do talk about when to get out. People talk about sometimes when to when to even adjust a position, but not a lot of people talk about how do I stay in a trade. And that is often the way you get those really big winners. That's how you turn a up 50 into an up 100%, 150, 200% plus, is having something to give you that indicator that you need to stay in this trade. Don't get in your way. It's working out. Stay in this trade. And that really is very, very helpful to traders.
My goal for you guys here this morning watching this is that by the end of this session, you will understand how using a tool like this can give you more confidence in your trades. Because not only is it going to help you make more money, it just feels better. You know, when you put on a shaky trade, you know that it's a shaky trade, and you go into it and you're maybe kind of hopeful, or you broke some of your rules, or you're feeling FOMO about some trend that's running that you don't normally do, and you hop on it. Having that confidence in your trades is not only going to make you more profitable, it's going to make trading a much more enjoyable experience. So I want to look a little bit at your track record, Hans. There really are two types of trades that we're going to focus on talking about today. Income trades is the first, and turbo trades is the second. As I show you guys this, we'll walk through what the difference is between the two of these, and what this type of trading can mean for you. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Hopefully you can see this popped up in just a second here. You're going to see a bunch of trades. Justin, let's share this screen if you can. The first thing I want to focus on is, a lot of times we talk about this is a pro level trade. We say that here at Option Pit a lot. This is a
I don't
pro
think we
level
have
trade.
it. Do we have it there, Hannah? Do we
We
see it?
should. Is it? Can you pop it up? I'm sharing the screen. Justin, am I doing something wrong?
Okay.
It says it should be shared.
Let me take a look here.
I was doing oh, here we go. Okay. I see it. You guys see it okay? Throw me a yes in the chat or a Y. I see it okay on my screen. Y. Okay, perfect. We talk a lot here at Option Pit about pro level trades. I want to translate for you what that really means and what it means for you as a trader. When we talk about a pro level trade, there's really two pieces to that. It's lower risk and it has higher upside. So when we talk about turbo trades, Hans, and let's look at this with your track record right here, these are what we call pro level trades. And it's because they are able to achieve a lower risk parameter, and you have some of that higher upside. So the way that you lower your risk in these trades, Hans, is you're using an income piece of the trade that's actually going to pay you. You'll see some of these wins on here. It looks like 14%, 16%, 3%, 12%. That's more of an income target. I'm just trying to make enough money on this trade to actually pay for an upside target for free. So when we talk about lower risk, he's basically taking the risk to zero by lowering the cost. If you have an income trade that generates a certain amount of money and you're able to put that into a trade where you're looking for more upside, that's what a pro level trade really looks like. One of the main questions we've gotten about your strategy, Hans, is this applicable to me? How much does it cost me to do this? So I left on this track record here some of the capital required for each of these positions. And it's achievable. 400 bucks. Some of these trades are even much cheaper than that, some of the actual income trades themselves. What type of account would you say is probably the lowest amount that someone could have to actually actively trade this strategy and reap some of the benefits, Hans?
I'd have to say 5,000. You could even go a little bit lower, but as you can see, these are relatively low capital amounts. The great thing about the sort of one leg of it, Hannah, is I can trade Netflix, which is a very expensive stock, and I can turn that into a low capital, very capital efficient trade. So it is a very versatile way to approach almost any stock.
100%. And you guys will see in this third column here, it says trade type. You're going to see two types there, turbo trades and income trades. Part of the reason why we've been talking so much about turbo income and this style of trading is because normally Hans has about we'll call it, if out of 10 total trades, he probably has 7 of those that are income and maybe 3 that are turbo. Right now, that ratio has been flipped on its head because you are seeing so much momentum and so much upside possibility that out of every 10 trades, 7 are a turbo right now and only 3 really are income. Can you talk about what the main catalyst for that is right now, Hans, and how long you think a trend like that might last?
Yeah, so just a tiny bit of background, Hannah. So I ran around $750 million in income funds. So for people around the world, generating hundreds of millions in cash flow from these income trades.
Right.
And because of my background on the pro side as a pro market maker, I came into that role with a deeper knowledge of option pricing and where opportunity lies. And so over time, I said, listen, you guys aren't doing this right. There are times where you need to go income, and there are times where you need to do other things. And so sometimes you and I joke about how it's called strategic greed. And that's kind of a fun phrase that we use, but really it just means a kind of controlled aggression, right? Smart aggression. And you'll notice that even in those tumultuous days of April, we don't have really any bad trades. And that's because we look for certain things like stability, et cetera, et cetera. And we don't mind waiting for that to show up. To your point, what we are starting to see, and we talked about our breakout ratio and things like that, we can touch upon soon. This is turning into an environment where that strategic greed is starting to be a more appropriate
Mhm.
approach to the market. And if quite frankly, that just comes down to, I don't want to make 200 bucks when I can make $2,000. It's really quite simple. And I believe in markets at giving us the ability to do better at times. And right now we are upping our turbo trades because these are the very trades that are going to take advantage of that in the right environment, which as we'll see is now.
This idea of strategic greed should be very interesting to you guys because if you have ever tried a strategy that's greedy all the time, you're going to get slaughtered. Part of what Hans articulates or what we talk about at OptionBet, when we talk about having an edge, it also applies to understanding when a strategy is in an atmosphere where it's going to do the best it possibly can, when really the stars are aligning and the performance is going to be, it's going to outperform what we normally see. And being able to have the confidence to go into your trades at that time and say, okay, the faucet was trickling before this, but now I really need to turn it all the way on. I want to make a segue for just a second and talk to you guys today about CRT. If you've never heard of that before here at Option Pit, this is something that should make you feel better and more confident in the strategies that you see here for 3 reasons. The C stands for consistently profitable. The R stands for repeatable, and the T stands for teachable. And my role here at Option Pit as the director of product development is I make sure that every strategy you see hits each of those parameters. So let's look at that with turbo income, consistently profitable. Of the trades you're looking at on your screen right now, there's one of them that was a loser. And it actually was just a piece of a larger trade that actually ended up being a winner. So I don't know if you can even really count that. Consistently profitable, we're usually looking for a strategy that has a certain level win rate and then also has a certain level percentage profit per trade. In the trading strategies, you'll see some of them will have maybe a lower win rate, but they won't care because they make enough on the winners that the losers don't matter. This is a strategy that has a high win rate. When you're looking at this right now, you can see there's one loser out of all of these trades. And Hans, people have this question, and I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. Like, would you say this is normal? Are we just in a great atmosphere? Is a win rate like this something that will continue for this style of income trading?
I believe it is, and I love the phrase that you use for this, and I want to talk about that pro trade. Okay, this is a term that is thrown about rather generously. People have their pro trade, and their history is in marketing, but they became a trader 2 years ago, and they have got a pro trade for you. And their cousin, there's one guy I noticed that his cousin gave him a hack, and he wants to give it to you. He's a chef, but his cousin gave him a special hack, and that's going to be a pro trade too. This is quite literally a pro trade, and that's what you're going to get from a roster of market makers of current pro traders who actually do this. There are elements to this that are very much pro trade. Hedge funds are doing a version of this trade. I spoke with somebody a couple of months ago. I said, well, what are you focusing on these days? This sort of structure, not exactly, right? There's different ways to do it, and there's different ways, and certainly there are different appropriate times to get in. But this is something that uses edge, and that is something that we always look for in as traders, right? The more we can of that we can get, the better. And I think as this market starts to align more in that direction of favoring strategic greed or aggression, if you want to call it, this trade, this structure really makes sense, and it actually gives you a number of things. We talked about it yesterday, actually, Hannah. We had a special session to talk about the sort of ins and outs of it, get under the hood. And I talked about how, listen, this makes sense because of these unique properties to this that give you a number of very interesting things. Number one, you have pricing edge. So don't worry about that too much. It's there most of the time. Number two, it gives you confidence to be a little bit wrong. So I love trades
Sure.
where I can be a little wrong before I'm right,
Sure.
because I have breathing room,
Right. And
and
you
that's
also
that's
have an
exciting.
understanding of your trade plan and where that trade's going to go. So you're able to allow yourself that wiggle room to let the position get
Yeah,
to where you really need it to go. And that patience is important, and understanding a strategy and having the confidence that a tool like the market temperature indicator gives you to enter a trade, stay in a trade, and know when to exit a trade. If you guys have been watching Hans over the last week, the MTI is behind all of these trades. So you've seen charts of these trades and exactly where the MTI goes green or yellow or red. And you can just think of that honestly like a stoplight. If it's yellow, you're maybe waiting to get in, you're thinking about it. When it goes green, you're actually wanting to be in a trade. You want to buy options. You want that upside. It's telling you that now is the time. And it also protects you on the backside. When it flips to yellow or flips to red, that's when the trade is over. And Hans has used that MTI for a lot of these wins that you see here. It is the key to this consistent profitability and the fact that these are pro trades, like you said, Hans, engineered with a certain level of edge. The second
yeah,
piece of CRT is that it's repeatable. So you'll see here, and we have the dates right on this. This is an actively traded strategy. Hans has several trades that are open right now that we can't show you. They're open positions, but it's important for you that a strategy be repeatable. I don't want just one trade that I can make a year. Is that going to change my account? No. Is that going to give me or accomplish some of the goals that I have in trading, like financial freedom, a community of traders? No. A single trade wouldn't do that. This has to be repeatable enough that it can actually do something for our viewers here. And then the third piece is it has to be teachable. One of the things that can be the most difficult, taking a pro level strategy and translating it to someone like you guys here today who doesn't have 5, 10, 20 years of trading experience, is how do you communicate the technicals, the logistics of a trade quickly? What I mean by that is, how do you know, you sitting at home at your computer, looking at, let's take RCAT, for example. You pull up that chart and you don't have Hans's decades of experience inside of your head. How do you look at that chart and get the same end result that Hans does, meaning knowing exactly where to buy, how long to hold, and when to sell. And if you ask why the MTI was created, it's for that specifically. So that when you're sitting there looking at your chart, you have those exact same answers without, not that you shouldn't talk to Hans, he's great and a wealth of information, but it gives you the independence and the confidence on your own to recognize these opportunities and take them. And that is really special. That is hard for so many traders to achieve, depending on you guys here in the room and knowing how long you've traded, or that is a very hard place to get to in trading, and being able to feel that when you go into the trades is extremely powerful. Hans, one thing that is a perk of your strategy that I just want to spend 3 minutes here highlighting that we haven't talked about too much, it's called a ripcord. Can you explain for people here what that is? Because that is also another feature of Turbo Income and the trades that you make here that I think gives people a lot of confidence. They have this safety net on their trade. So talk to me about a ripcord real quick.
Yeah, so a full sort of holistic strategy is going to include all the aspects that are going to address our happy points, our negative points, our pain points,
Mhm.
and that gives you confidence. Even if you want to know, if you know where you're going to pull the ripcord, which is get rid of a position that isn't cooperating, that knowing that is going to help you, right? Because the easiest part of trading is pushing the button, and we all go in with best intentions, right? Every marriage, everyone goes in with the best intentions, and some marriages don't work out, and we don't often plan for that. It's hard to plan for that. In trading, we can plan for that, and we have the ripcord strategy that does exactly that. It observes a certain metric that we watch and we can set alerts for, and when that happens, it is telling you time to be a big boy or girl and do the necessary thing, and that will allow you to be more successful over time. Think of your accounts out there, guys. You could put it in the chat if you want. Have you had positions that just kind of buried your account for 6 months, and here you are, you see all this opportunity out there, but now you're handcuffed because you've gotten yourself into something difficult. And I've managed many traders over the years, and I remember I would say to somebody really, really struggling, I'd say, just get rid of that darn position. And as soon as they did, man, the world opened up to them. It was like the guy in The Beautiful Mind on the chalkboard. He suddenly could see opportunity again. Emotional capital is an absolute key to what you're doing, and the more tools like the ripcord you have, the more you're going to preserve that emotional capital, and the more that is going to lead to taking advantage of opportunity when it presents itself.
Any questions you guys have for Hans, pop them in the chat. I want to funnel a couple questions to him before we hop off of here today. And I want to ask you guys also a question. If you had a tool that was able to tell you exactly when it was the best time to buy an upside call option or to buy stock, to basically bet that this stock is going to go up. If you had a tool that told you when you should get in and how long you should hold that position and when you should get out, and that tool was able to generate a track record like this, would you have more confidence in your trading? Simple question. If you used a tool like that, would it give you more confidence in your trading? Would you feel better going into a position knowing exactly how long you needed to hold it, exactly when you needed to get out? Because that is the reality of what this tool can give you. Hans used that tool for all of these trades you see here, but you can get this on your charts so that you can see this on any stock across the entire market you would look at.
Anything, index,
Anything.
commodity, gold, silver, Bitcoin, IBIT, MSTR, whatever your flavor is, you can put it in there.
It gives you the ability to basically take the temperature in the pool of whatever stock you're looking at and know right away, okay, this is cold as heck, I don't want to get in, or we're verging on a hot tub, this is perfect. It gives you that exact measurement, and it doesn't take time. You don't have to wait. It's automatically populated on your chart when you go there.
It's unemotional, Hannah. It's unemotional. It's the original AI. The MTI is AI. It's unemotional. It's the Terminator. It tells you, look, this is what's happening. We are reading. What are we doing when we're option traders or even investors for that matter? We are reading sentiment, fear, greed, all the things that are in between those two as well. It's very nuanced. The MTI is giving you that view. Some indicators say, well, here's a breakout. Let's do it. This tells you, okay, when it's not time to turbo, guess what? It's time to do this. And when things are looking perhaps a little more negative, it's telling you this is time to get out, this is time to hedge. So it's an incredibly versatile tool that is not for one thing, it is for a number of things. And it just so happens that right now it is screaming to do turbos everywhere.
Hans, right now we are running a special offer on Turbo Income. So for those of you that are here today, you can actually get a great deal. There's an order form that's posted above me. We'll post it over in the chat too. I would click on that. We're running a sale on this because this is such a hot time to use this strategy. It's actually deadlining tonight at midnight. So I would make sure that you click on that. You can get access to the types of trades we're showing you right now on the screen. You can get access to having the MTI on your own charts. Click on that order form and you can read through exactly what you would get. The offer that you'll see there and the price points that you'll see there, those are only lasting till midnight tonight. That is the actual deadline on this. Because Hans, I know you are eyeing several potential turbo trades now. Market temperature indicator is heating up on some stocks. You usually make a new trade every Monday, and you've had some other turbos that are coming out at other paces now because, like you said, now is the time to be strategically greedy. So make sure that you guys click on that link. If you guys do have any questions, pop them into the chat. I'm happy to pass them over to Hans. The last thing I want to touch on here today, Hans, is going back to why now, why it is the time to be strategically greedy with this strategy. You have a particular number that you've been tracking, and basically, like any charting strategy, you have sort of a ceiling. So you guys think about a stock like Tesla, for example, and usually there's a line that you could draw across your chart that is a level of resistance, meaning Tesla price will run up to this and then it'll pop back down. It'll run up to this and it'll come back down. That is a typical technical analysis strategy that most traders use. Hans, you have a way of basically tracking when artificial intelligence and this catalyst is going to make your MTI do what it's doing right now. It's going to create this opportunity for strategic greed. And you have a number that you've been tracking, and we've basically, over the last year, hit this ceiling 3 times. And then in the last week, we've actually started breaking through that ceiling in a sustained way, meaning we didn't pop above it and pop back down. We're having day after day after day that we are above the ceiling. What does that mean for everyone here today? If I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, okay, I see a lot of strategies. This looks really exciting. I like the MTI, but like, what do I do about it? And why does it matter that the people here today do something about this now?
Well, again, Hannah, everything we do has to have some element of figuring out where the excitement is, where the fear is, because that's what drives us. The situation's changed, the world has changed, the world's different from 100 years ago. 10 years from now, it's going to be pretty different because of AI. So, but guess what's constant? People, the way they react, the fear, the greed, and everything in between. So it's always good to have these tools that sort of link into that very thing.
Mhm.
And so this indicator, this breakout ratio, and we're not reverse engineering and go, hey, this worked, so we're going to show you that today. Anybody who's been watching the shows for 5-6 weeks, I said it's going to rally to this point, it's going to hit that line, it's going to pull back, and then it's going to ramp up for the next move, which is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. This is a fever. This is excitement. We talked about those GPT prompt numbers earlier. This is happening. This is the AI inference phase. So this is something that gives me kind of the pulse of what's going on beyond the MTI as well. So when I can start layering things, I'm a very, very happy trader. And right now we are starting to make a move. So it's rather urgent. But what it's telling us is that there's a level of excitement. And a lot of people reach out to me and go, boy, this market's overvalued. certain areas are going to be fantastic to trade. And that's what we talk about. And that's what we have been talking about, some specific areas that are major beneficiaries. And that's really what this is showing us.
There are several other elements to your Turbo Income paid membership, Hans, that also should give people confidence. Hans is live with you guys every week. You have the ripcord, obviously, as a piece of this strategy to help you shorten your losses and even protect you from maybe even having a loser at all. You also have a 24/7 chat room that people can go join. Click on that link, you guys, and you can read everything that's included. Hans goes, and I put together a lot of these subscriptions. Hans goes above and beyond in what he delivers for Turbo Income members. And if you look at this and you're saying to yourself, like, I don't know how comfortable I'm going to feel, I don't know if I can do this, I'm just going to tell you, you can, because the customer service that we have and the level of involvement that Hans has to make sure that you are able to do this successfully is next level. Going back to that consistently profitable, repeatable, teachable, he is a great teacher and he will be able to actually walk you through how to implement these. So Hans, thank you for joining this morning. Everyone who's here, thank you so much. I didn't see a ton of questions in the chat, but let me just take a peek real quick. Carol came in late. She says, what is the MTI? MTI stands for Market Temperature Indicator, and it's a proprietary indicator that Hans built and uses in his income trading. What it's going to look like, Carol, is it actually overlays on your charts, and it's basically a red light, green light indicator for when a stock has significant momentum and significant upside charge. So if it goes green, that means I want to be buying stock. I want to buy options. That's how Hans hit a lot of the winners you see on your screen right now, is through that confirmation of the MTI. If it goes yellow or red, I want to be out of a position. There is a question here, Hans, about the ratio of calls or only puts to spreads. I think that's pretty much 50-50 when we talk about your pro trades, like an income trade versus an upside trade. That income trade is usually a spread, and then that upside trade, you're trading calls. Is that correct?
Yes, and the great thing about it is it gives you that that benefit, that luxury of time, because what is one of the things that we struggle with as we buy options? This sort of decay. This we need to be right. We need to be right rather quickly. This takes care of that. The RCAT trade you talked about, Hannah, actually took its time before it made us 150%. So, and I didn't sweat a single drop in that time. So this is a really nice benefit. That sense of urgency isn't there, which is quite frankly stressful and speaks to the emotional capital.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, as we know, you can make 100 good trades and you just have one that goes really bad and it can wipe out a lot of those gains. So this is about making sure that you guys as traders get the most bang for your buck, both your emotional capital, your time, your confidence going into the trade. We want you, and we have put together a strategy here that is going to make you the most confident trader you can possibly be. And also, when you learn that skill, you can apply it and use the MTI in any of your trades, not only income trades, not only turbo trades, any style of trade, even buying stock, even buying long-term stock. You can use the MTI and you can apply some of the same things that you will learn in this strategy to your other trades. So, like I mentioned, we have a sale on this right now for a limited time. It only goes until midnight tonight. So if you have been thinking about this, if you've been watching the MTI, I suggest you click on that link above or in the chat and make sure that you don't want to join, or make sure that you join today, because that price that's on there is going to expire tonight at midnight. Also, if you have questions, we have a great customer care team. You can give us a phone call, see if you have any credits that you could apply towards something. I'll put the, I'm going to put the phone number in the chat right now for you guys. 888-872-3301. You can give us a phone call. Hans, thanks for the time this morning, and everyone who's here with us, thank you for joining us. Hopefully, by the end, you guys feel more confident and understand what having an indicator, what having a tool, what having a mentor like Hans in your corner, what that actually can mean for you as a trader and for your trading account. And I hope that I accomplished my goal and it pushes you guys to actually join Turbo Income today, because it'll cost you more tomorrow. And we want you in for these strategic greed turbo trades.
Check it out, everyone. Thank you, Hannah. Wonderful, wonderful show. And thanks, everyone, for showing up. And have a wonderful day.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thanks, Hans.